Hello, Serge here from the backyard driving range. Started out with the driver today because the first question that came into customer service for today is relative to the driver. And this one comes from Barry Sinclair, and he says, seems to hit my irons well, in parentheses, just a beginner. But when it comes to the woods, it all goes haywire. I wish you could come to Western Australia so you could give a coaching session here. What would your suggestions be on my woods to get a straighter shot? All right, so you want to hit it straighter and more solid, because as we know, those balls stay in play in most cases, and when you hit them straighter and more solid, they go farther, and it makes golf easier because you got less iron to the green. So why does the game fall apart when we start getting to the longer clubs? Well, because the fact that a longer club, even if I make the same amount of error that I do with a shorter club, it is more error because the ball's going farther, right? So it just magnifies itself, and therefore any errors get magnified also. Meaning, if you've hit it with a little bit of a block or a push or a slice or whatever, and conversely a pull or a hook, because it's going farther, it's got longer to keep going the wrong direction. So therefore, the errors are magnified. So that's why it's all more important to do. That you have to control things. And notice I've said the word control, because here's the big issue. All right, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to take out my 7-iron, and I'm going to hit a 7-iron here, and then I'm going to tee up the driver again, and I'm going to show you distinctly how I swing, and then I'll reference to how I think what happens to most average golfers once they go from the shorter clubs to the longer clubs. All right, and one final note before I do hit. How many times do we hear that people say, well, I can hit my hybrids pretty good, but once I get to my fairway woods and my driver, or 3-wood and 5-and driver, then it really starts to go even worse. Well, that's because hybrids are made much shorter than fairway woods, and naturally much shorter than the driver. But hybrids are made to design as a replacement for your long irons. And with more loft on them, and they can adjust the weights on them differently, it's easier for them to hit the ball. It's easier for all of us to hit the ball higher and more consistently solid and relatively more controlled because of the shortness of them. All right, so again, getting back to this, all I want you to concentrate on now is watch my knees particularly, and my overall body. 7-iron. All right, now the big things that we teach in the peak performance golf swing is that our trademark is the wide knees, outward pressure. Knees wide in the sense that we have a narrow stance, but they're wide in the sense that they come straight up in line from the ankles up to the hips and the shoulders. So we have what we call ride the skinny horse look, or like a building effect, not looking like a triangle, and certainly not the Eiffel Tower where it's pinched in a little bit. We don't want any of the knees pinched in. Outward pressure is the key. That's what cuts down the turn and gives us the limited turn and helps create the 3/4 swing too, as long as we don't break our wrists and everything up there. So we want to play by secret number one, or rule number one. Fewer angles, the better. And the most important angles to start controlling the whole swing are the knees. So think of your knees as your levelers and stabilizers. We want to keep them level and stable. If we keep the knees level, then the hips stay level, the shoulders stay level, the spine will stay much more level, and everything stays in place so that when we swing this rock on the end of this string, that the string stays consistent at the right height, so from where I started at address, it will return to there because I'm not moving around, or so to speak, doing a doo-wah-diddy while I play, or rock and rolling versus waltzing, as I use the expression a lot. Okay, so 7-iron. I'm getting into my posture. One of the last things I do is, my knees are close, but the last things I do is when the club goes down, I have like a 3-set stage. It goes, I have my grip, the pressure's pretty good, but once the club goes ready, I firm my grip up, I widen my knees a little bit, I press them out just a little bit. We go out as much as we can stay flat on our feet in the center. We don't want to go out so much where the insides of the feet will start rolling up. It's just enough to keep the knees there and resist. So remember, the resistance is only in the backswing. That's what cuts down a turn. If we resisted and kept the knees wide going down, we couldn't hit the golf ball. So you're basically wide to the top, and then once you fire, then your knees go. All right? So I'm going to get the outward pressure. One, I just give my final really good firming my grip up to get the pressure I really need, which presses really activates the forearms. 1, I activate the grip. 2, I get the knees exactly where they're supposed to be. And 3, the swing starts. And it goes boom, 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 that fast. All right? Watch the knees. Watch the body. 7-iron. Very quiet, correct? Okay, let's do the driver. Here's where everybody gets in trouble. They start longer club. The brain automatically gets a message that says, hey, we need more help to get this bigger club going. So now they're going to start kicking the knees. Very likely the knee comes in, the forward foot goes up. They end up turning too much. The club goes too long. They get too deep in the sacred burial ground. The club goes long. It starts changing their spine. And then now that they've gone to parallel more, they have to now pull the club up before it comes down. So they have to engage the upper body to get it going. And the next thing you know, what isn't moving? What angles of the body are not changing? But we have to try to maintain the same thing all the way. So I'm going to get into my setup. I'm going to have the 1, 2, and then start. For my takeaway, it's the same with every club. So I'm checking myself out. I'm getting into posture. It's pretty much the exact same setup. And the exact same swing. I'm maintaining and resisting my lower body movement, which will give me the limited turn and help me have the more perfect 3/4 backswing that we want. So the key is the knees. This is the trademark of the surge swing. Wide knees, outward pressure, the surge in a peak performance golf swing. And the longer the club, the more important it is to really resist that forward knee movement. Because once that knee moves, all it takes is most golfers, if you move that knee more than 1 inch, the knee's coming in, it starts to pull the left hip down, which now starts changing the right side, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if we don't want the action, we certainly don't want the reaction, right? And so, or maybe I said that back. If we don't want the reaction, we have to make sure we don't do the action in the first place. So set the knees, keep them level. They're your levelers and stabilizers. You want them to move relatively level as you go through. And that's what you're doing. So keep the knees in the backswing, and you're going to find that your swing, your total swing, especially with the longer clubs, will be maintained, and your angles will be maintained, and you'll start hitting it more solid and straight. That's how you control your longer clubs. Longer clubs need to work a little bit more hard, a little bit more emphasis on maintaining the wide knees, outward pressure. That's it for the search for today on staying more level so we can hit the longer clubs more solid and straight and shoot those lower scores.